Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to the second meeting of critical discourse analysis. So let's just start by saying Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, the first one that we're going to study is the history of CDA. Critical discourse analysis, or CDA, emerged from critical linguistics, or CL, founded in the late 1970s by Roger Fowler and his group of linguists and literary theorists at the University of East Anglia. CL was based on Michael Halliday's systemic functional linguistics, or SFL, which is a language theory that focuses on language's systemic function. So this SFL by Halliday is very popular actually in linguistic study, but I don't think that you will find I don't think that you will have to learn about SFL in this bachelor degree. But if you think that you're going to continue study to the master degree to S2, then you will find SFL by Halliday. So this might be a little bit of spoiler for you if you want to continue your study. After further development, linguists thought that CL had to broaden the scope of analysis. It is because that after doing a lot of works actually, they think that CL is kind of limited. So they have to broaden the scope of analysis. First, from textual to intertextual. I think that you already know what intertextuality means. So that means if you are reading a text, maybe you will feel or you will think that this text is related to other texts. So that means the writer or the speaker of the text could be inspired or take references from previous texts. That is what it means, intertextuality. And then the second one, CL needs to consider how the audience, in this case is the hearer or the reader of the discourse, interpret the discourse. It is because in the earlier works of CL, the analysts did not really focus on how the audience interpret the discourse. It is because they assumed that the audience would interpret it the same way as the analysts. But that is not the case. That is not true because maybe the audience have their own interpretation. That's why linguists thought that CL need to be broadened. And then the next reason is CL needs to focus on the level beyond sentence. In the earlier works of CL, they only focused on the grammatical and lexical analysis only, and it is only in the clause level, with little attention to the higher level such as a whole text. They only focus on the clause, the grammatical of the clauses, but not the whole text. So that's why they need something that is more wide, that's wider than CL. The terms of CL and CDA were often used interchangeably. However, the term CDA seems to have been preferred recently and is now used to define the theory that's previously called SCL. So that means CDA is already been broadened. It's already been developed than CL. Nowadays, some scholars prefer the term critical discourse studies, but it's only some of them, right? Not all of them. But I don't know that maybe in the future we need to change our subject into critical discourse studies. I don't know, maybe in several years. CDA was first developed by the Lancaster School of Linguistics, whose prominent figure in CDA is Norman Fairclough. So Norman Fairclough is a very prominent figure in CDA. His theory is one of the main theories in CDA, and he's from Lancaster School of Linguistics. We're getting to the definition of CDA. CDA regards linguistics as social practice, we have to pay attention to the social practice here. So that means how language is used as a communication in society, in social condition, and takes particular interest in the relation between language and power. CDA specifically considers institutional, political, gender, and media discourses. Van Dyck stated that CDA field is concerned with studying and analyzing written and spoken text to reveal the discursive sources of power, dominance, inequality, and bias. CDA examines how those texts are maintained and reproduced within specific social, political, and historical contexts. So a discourse reflects the power, the dominance, the inequality and bias from the speaker or the writer, and CDA examines how that discourse relates to the social, political, and historical context. Fairclough stated that CDA aims to explore the relationships of causality and determination between A. Discursive practices, events, and texts, and B. Social and cultural structures, relations, and processes. Those relationships are often opaque or not transparent. So that means causality means hubungan sebab akibat, causative. And determination means ketetapan between discourses. So you need to pay attention here. The words that I wrote in bold means discourse. And then the words that I wrote in italics means the society. So that means discourse and society are always related. Those discursive practices, discursives means something that is related to discourse, Those discursive practices, events, and texts are ideologically shaped by the relation of power and struggles over power. To explore how the opacity of these relationships between discourse and society is a factor securing power and hegemony. So you need to pay attention that there is a relation of power and struggles over power. So there is a side that has power, and there's also a side that struggles against the power. The power of dominant groups may be integrated in laws, rules, norms, habits, and even a quite general consensus. It is what Gramsci called as hegemony. So maybe you were asking about what is hegemony. So this is the definition from Gramsci in Van Dyck. To simplify Fairclough's definition of CDA, it aims to make the connections between discourse practices, social practices, and social structures to be transparent. So from the relationship of the society and CDA that is first not transparent, by CDA we need to make it transparent. The concept of CDA. CDA aims to critically investigate social inequality that's expressed, signaled, constituted, legitimized in discourse. So you need to pay attention that in every CDA research, in every CDA studies, the discourses always express something that is unequal, something that has discrimination. Three concepts in all CDA, there are three: the concept of power, history, and ideology. So in every analysis or in every study of CDA, there are three concepts, and those are these. For CDA, language is not powerful on its own. Language gains power from powerful people when they make use of it. For example, if your brother or your sister ask you to open the door, for example, maybe you can just ignore them. Maybe you can just lay down still on your bed. But if it's your mother who is more powerful than your brother or sister, and she told you to open the door, then maybe you will obey her directly. It is because your mother has more power, is more powerful than your sister or brother. Although they have the same language, they speak the same language to order you, to request you to open the door. But you tend to obey your mother rather than your brother or sister. So that means language actually is not powerful, but language becomes powerful by the people. This is why the analysis often chooses the perspective of the powerless. The powerless one is the audience, the hearer, the reader. And critically analyzes the language use of the powerful. The powerful one is the speaker or the writer of the discourse, who are responsible for the inequalities and also have chance to improve conditions. So don't just think that the speaker or the writer or those people who have power, they only can discriminate. They can only give bad effect, yeah. But they also have chance, they also have opportunity to improve conditions. So there are always two sides of everything. Okay, I think that's just all. We need to make it short. So the assignment is quite simple. You need to make a short review of 500 words about what you have learned today. So you can see the reference that I used was from Wodak and Mayer, and you can see it from our PCO also. And I will add addition reference, and I will upload it to our classwork. Okay, thank you. You may ask questions from everything that I have explained, but remember that I don't have to answer everything. So your friends have the same opportunity as mine to answer your questions. Don't forget that the assignment is due next week. You can submit your assignment to the link that I have provided in our classwork. As usual, I will only accept the assignment before our next meeting. So before we start our next meeting, our third meeting, I will close the link, the submission link. Okay, let's start the written discussion in our classwork. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.